there, I'm Pat with Riverside Chef, and today we're going to make Blackberry Cloud Pie. It's kind of a combination of a number of different elements. It has a shortbread cookie crust, it has blackberries as the base for the pie, and then it has kind of a cheesecake topping, but it's a meringue with cheesecake kind of sort of thing. Anyway, it's really a lovely, very light dessert, and I think that you'll enjoy it if you make it. Anyway, we'll get started with that. We're going to start making the blackberries first. So for the blackberry base, we have 4 cups of wild blackberries. These are Himalayan blackberries that Estrella picked. And we have half a cup of sugar, the juice and zest of 1 lime. It was a nice juicy lime. And then we have 4 tablespoons of cornstarch with 1/3 cup of water that we're going to make into a slurry. And we're going to get the blackberries going before we add the cornstarch. And once the blackberries get nice and juicy from the cooking process, we'll add the cornstarch. These blackberries smell wonderful. If you have blackberries or any kind of berry, you can use any kind of berry to make this. I think it would be really good with raspberries too, but what we have available are the blackberries right now. You can either level up the sugar or reduce it depending on how sweet your berries are, so it's just kind of a matter of taste. And I'm cooking these right now on medium-high. This time of year, July and August, is a really good time to go out and forage for wild blackberries because they are abundant out there. We have a hard time keeping them down to a low roar here on the farm. They want to take over all the time. And just let that come up to a boil. Alright, so the berries have come to a boil. And there was 1/2 cup of sugar and the juice and zest of 1 lime, and now I'm adding 1/4 cup of cornstarch, which is 4 tablespoons, and 1/3 cup of water that's made into a slurry. I'm going to add that to it and stir it in. And reduce the temperature down just a little bit so that it's more like medium instead of medium-high, and it's seasoned up really quick. We want the base to be fairly thick, but we want to cook it long enough so that it has the cornstarch flavor cooked out of it. And when the cornstarch is cooked properly, it's basically transparent, and this is looking really beautiful. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the cookie crust. This is cooked up enough. That's beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to start with the cookie crust here. Now that we've got the blueberries done, or the blackberries done. You can cook up the blackberries the day before and the cookie crust as well, so that you can do this like in a 2-step process. You know, one day you get part of it done and the next day you get the rest done. It's not a real intense type of recipe. It actually comes together really pretty easily. So we're going to do, this is kind of an optical illusion because I'm actually making extra shortbread cookies just to eat. So for the recipe for the cookie crust, what you want is a stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup, a cup of flour, 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then a little dash of vanilla. I'm also adding pecans to this, finely ground pecans to this. So if you want the pecans in it, you would add 1/2 cup of pecans to it at the very end when you're mixing it in at the very end. So anyway, so I'm going to cream the powdered sugar and the butter until they're nicely blended. going to add the salt to the flour. Oh, and there's also, in the recipe, there's 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to your cup of flour. And we're going to add a teaspoon or so of vanilla. Almond extract is really nice in this too. Okay. This is ready to put into a bowl and work it together. That's a house goat. That's a little Missy Mess. She has some problems with her lungs. She's not quite totally right. But we love her anyway.
You might want to specify that she's not a full-grown goat. She's a baby goat.
She is a baby goat. I think you've met her before if you've watched any of our videos. So I have a springform pan here that I think is a 9-incher, and it has parchment paper in the bottom, and I'm going to spray it well with a cooking spray so that nothing sticks. So I've just kind of mushed the cookie dough together a little bit, see it's nice and soft, and I'm going to put it in the bottom of the pan here, and then I'm going to press it out. And I'm just basically pressing it out to the whole bottom of the pan. And then I'm going to bake it at 350 degrees, I believe. Nope, 325 until it's nice and golden.
You have the oven on?
No, I don't think I do. I better turn my oven on. So when you're forming it up, you want to bring the cookie dough up the edges of the pan just a little bit.
What's a little bit?
About 1 inch. And you just use your fingers to press it up the side. It's to hold the blackberries. Taking the cookie dough up to the side is just to make it a little more stable for the blackberry filling. So, okay, so this is what it looks like now. So you see it's up the side of the pan like that, and it's just basically just flattened in with your fingers. There. So now we're going to bake this. Okay, so we're continuing with the rest of the Blackberry Cloud Cake pie. Anyway, so we have our crust made up. It's the short crust with the pecans in it. And we have our blackberry filling here. And this is all ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is make the meringue. I'll be beating up the eggs. It's 3 egg whites with 3/4 of a cup of sugar that you add slowly after it's started to beat up, and then a little bit of salt. Anyway, so we'll get started on that. So I'm slowly adding the sugar to the egg whites now that they've hit the right consistency. And I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Nice peaks. Now I'm going to put the egg whites into this bowl here on the side, and then I'm going to combine the 500 grams of sour cream, 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 1/4 cup of sugar for the mixture of part of the cloud. So 500 grams of sour cream, and this is Mexican sour cream. It has a really nice complex flavor. You can use just regular sour cream, but we always just get the Mexican sour cream because we really enjoy it. And I'm just adding the cornstarch all at one time, and the sugar. And another teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to mix this with the paddle attachment. Now we'll put down the base of the blackberries onto the cookie crust. And now I'm going to fold the egg whites into the sour cream mixture. And you want to just fold it in until it's just combined. It's very beautiful. It's very velvety looking. Okay, and now it's going to go into the pie. And we're going to bake this at 325 for approximately 30 to 35 minutes. And I'll let you know just exactly how long it was in the oven when it's done. You just want it to be nice and golden, and probably I'll end up putting a little piece of parchment paper over the top of this once it gets close to being done so it doesn't over brown. You just want it to be a nice gold color when it's finished baking. Okay, our Blackberry Cloud Pie is done, and it's quite beautiful. Let's see, I think it's kind of hot to touch, but anyway, it's very pretty. Nice and golden on the top. I'm not going to cut this tonight. I'm going to wait until tomorrow morning. So anyway, I misspoke earlier when I was talking about the temperature. It's at 350 that you bake it at approximately 35 minutes or so. This actually went 40 minutes today before I thought it was done enough. And you can see that there's a little bit of jiggle left, and by the time tomorrow morning rolls around, when it's cooled all night, it'll be perfect for cutting, and we'll show you how it turns out then. I think I'll have some with a cup of coffee in the morning. So here's our Blackberry Cloud Pie. It turned out beautiful. This is going to be a good one. And it's so simple to make. I mean, it's just, you know, you can separate the steps out over a couple of days if you like, you know, if you need to have some time to get other stuff done. But it just comes together so nicely, and it's beautiful. And you can use pretty much any kind of fruit for the fruit layer. You just want to make sure that you use the appropriate amount of cornstarch to thicken it, and the amount of sweetener that you need to make it just that right level of sweetness. Now this is a nice pie because it's sweet enough to satisfy, but it's not overly sweet. And that's pretty much the way I like desserts, is I don't want them to be too sweet, just enough to satisfy. Anyway, well, thank you for watching, and hope we'll see you again. Hey, and subscribe and like. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.